Sunil, thank you very much for your time. You've been in the country for 9 months. You're certainly executing on your strategy where Neotel is concerned, and most importantly, pointing out the fact that in November 2011 you reported that you were EBITDA positive for the second quarter of the March 2012 year. Positive momentum on that front, and of course your spread is very much still in the business space with 90% of your revenue from that arena, 10% into the consumer. What are the biggest challenges you're facing right now?
Well, at the start of the year and in the 9 months to now, the team at Neotel has been focused really hard on managing our cost base, but also ensuring that we're setting our capability, our services, to scale to suit the purposes that a business customer needs, voice, data, or video services. And even on the consumer side, to see how we can deliver, bring competition to the South African market, which is our prime purpose, but also bring innovation into the South African marketplace through telecommunications, thereby enabling South African businesses to do business amongst themselves in South Africa, but also connect with the rest of the world in a seamless way.
I just want to touch on how disruptive you are being in the South African space when it comes to the consumer. Just 2 days ago, launching a product of 799 Rand per month, 24 gigs on the broadband front, and I'm sure you're having very strong take-up of that offering.
We certainly are, because that's what our customers have been saying that we're looking for. And this is not going to be the last of the offers that we'll come out with. There'll be other products and services that we'll be launching in the upcoming months to again serve the customers that have said this is what we're looking for. They want bigger bandwidth, faster speeds, want to get connected, and want to have voice as a service, which is still going to be the mainstream application for most businesses and consumers.
Although voice is a mainstream application, of course data is becoming more and more important. Yes. How are you pursuing that data space? Because we do know that there are pressures on margins in that territory.
Certainly, and in the last little less than 5 years that we've been in business, we've been focused on implementing a fiber backbone within South Africa. We now have about 7,000 kilometers of fiber, and that's connected to the subsea cable systems that connect South Africa to the world. That gives us a unique capability of being able to connect any business within South Africa to themselves, or any of the 300 cities, 200 countries, and 6 continents. We can be the single point to take them there. And that's our value proposition.
I don't mean to be hogging the stage here. You've got a burning question.
I wanted to ask, in this sort of environment where technology cultivates demand and prices are, prices are a victim of that, what sort of returns do you think South African telecommunication companies should see going forward? Because the bulk of those benefits are being taken by the consumer. So what sort of returns on capital, as Bronwyn said, margins, do you expect to have going forward?
And mindful that you can't speak to third quarter numbers at this stage.
Yeah, and I think our move to become EBITDA positive, which we did in July, is a good example of where investments have started to give returns. Yes. We wanted to make sure we had sustained EBITDA performance in July, August, and September before we actually announced it in November. But a lot of focus has gone on managing our costs, but also scale. South Africa still has a huge demand for broadband penetration. And it also says that for every 10% of broadband penetration in any geography, you have a direct impact of about a 1 to 1.5% GDP growth impact. Now, in that, telecommunications businesses like ours do derive the benefit of scale. As we serve more customers and more consumption does come in, your unit cost does come down overall, but you still continue to grow in your top line and also focus on the bottom line. And these returns for businesses like ours are not overnight, and we're very different to a normal business where you see a 1 or 2 year return. Right. And we did in our business case expect to have a period of a 5 to 7 year time frame to look at returns coming to our business.
You've got to follow up and then win.
Right. Is it a zero-sum game where if you win, someone else loses, or can all of industry win?
I think the whole industry is growing. Okay. So the telecommunications industry in South Africa is growing roughly about 4% per annum. And what we bring to the table is value-add services, and certainly voice every telecommunication provider does bring to bear, but connectivity, ISP, Tier 1 ISP services, internet experience is the differentiated value proposition we bring through IP convergence from our fiber infrastructure.
When you look at Neotel and what they've done, I drove down to Cape Town towards the end of last year, and I just saw fiber optic cable being laid from Joburg to Cape Town next to the main road. Was that Neotel?
That is us.
I thought it was, yeah.
And you were smiling all the way.
Oh yeah, very much so, yeah. But the question is, Telkom every year when they come out, there's fewer voice minutes, every single year. What do you think? Do you think Telkom can or will do something to try and counteract Neotel, or to try and counteract their decline more than just counteracting Neotel?
Yeah, I don't think it's a competition issue. Because there are telecommunication companies in the market here, and they voice, data, or video. I think it's about bringing best-of-breed services and innovative solutions that will assist South African businesses and consumers to grow. With their growth will come our growth. And that's where we look at our focus, is driving a better customer experience, but also enabling them to transact business in South Africa and anywhere else, an emerging or mature market they're choosing to.
And then just another quick question. When is a developer of specifically video conferencing facilities going to invent a system that normal people can use, that you don't have to get your IT person in to turn it on and connect it? That there's just one button you push and it works. Because every time I go to a video conference anywhere, it takes you 10 minutes to set that up and you've got to call the IT person.
Yeah. And we've changed that actually a year ago.
Okay.
Neotel was the first service provider to launch a public telepresence room here in Joburg and Midrand in our office. And what it is, it's connected to 38 other public rooms around the world, but also other private rooms. It is through a touch of the button.
Okay.
And it's managed by a 24/7 concierge service where you just call them and say, book me a meeting between 10 to 11, Joburg and London.
I've seen it in action. It looks as though you're actually sharing the biscuits in the room
Yes,
with the person
almost. You can't
in
give
a
it, but
different
you can.
territory.
Yeah. And if you'd like, we'll show it to you in, and you'll be very impressed with what
Because I must
technology
say,
can
every
offer
time I go
today.
anywhere, you've got to call the IT person.
Well,
And soon you'll find a similar facility up and running in Durban and Cape Town.
Okay.
COP17, talking
Yes.
about innovative solutions, you played an integral role on that front. Perhaps just take us through what you did at COP17 and how successful it was.
And we were delighted to be given an opportunity by the government to work part of the broader team to deliver what we would call as the biggest single internet pipe. So they needed about over 2 gig internet connectivity during the course of COP17, and we were one of the only service providers that could offer that. But in addition to that, they also wanted the delegates of COP17 to be connected to the rest of the world through telepresence infrastructure that is available. So we also managed the telepresence infrastructure along with our other partners, Cisco and Didata, in delivering that service to all the delegates in a ubiquitous and seamless manner that they could remain connected to their home country and other countries they need to, while still participating in that key event.
Sunil, just coming back to your revenue split, we said 90% in the business space, 10% consumer. Where would you like to see that 12 months? Maybe 24 months out, perhaps 12 months is a little early.
I'd like to see all the overall the revenue raise, but I think the proportion that we've been growing is this about 90-10 split, and therefore we can see the overall growth in revenue and split within the business community.
So you don't see that split dramatically shifting?
No, not dramatically shifting, but we'll continue to serve consumers, and we've done double of what we did last year in half the time in consumer growth, and we've had just about a 23% growth in our business customers within the first 6 months.
Do you think, sir, that the profitability trend that you're on now, which I gather from you was driven partially, if not for the most part, by productivity gains, so layoffs and cost cutting. If you continue it, can you continue to lay people off and to keep cutting costs?
We didn't lay people off.
Okay.
We right-sized our organization and brought in the newer talent we need to set our business up for the future, which is IP, convergence, service management skills. However, our revenue grew first half this year to first half previous year, 25%.
Okay, that's very
So
good.
we had a combination of both, a 25% growth in revenue and 118% growth in EBITDA year on a previous consecutive period, first half this year to first half last year. And all of that came with the technology. The people in Neotel are very passionate about the business and what we're trying to do to bring innovation to South Africa, and also the element of managing our costs. We can't take our eye off of that anyway.
We spoke about that product, the 24 gigs at 799 Rand, introduced just 2 days ago. Can we expect more products of this disruptive nature going forward? Of course, the South African consumer welcoming news flow of this nature.
Yes, you can, and you will see a lot more coming. Even on voice, Bronwyn, we've got a very attractive voice offering for both prepaid and postpaid customers. And we're, relative to the market, we're somewhere between 15 to 20% better priced for our consumer customers as well. And we don't disadvantage them based on the payment mechanism they've used.